Today on Family Matters.
Got no control over my children. That's where he put a hammer into the wall.
How much is enough? Is it police coming to the house enough?
No.
Or is it your kids having to do time? When is enough?
Not enough is enough now.
You're going to end up with the boys in prison, or even worse, not just prison, but getting hurt themselves, seriously hurt. You're pushing everyone away that's trying to help.
Something's got to give. Just can't carry on.
There's got to be a point when something clicks up here and you go, I need to get to making change, because change happens in a second.
He turns to me sometimes and says, "You're a fat cow," and I don't want my children to think that it's okay to call their mum names like that.
Are you doing your room?
He knows that if he behaves a certain way, he'll get your negative attention.
Turn it off. Bedtime.
The video games have become technology babysitter,
They have.
technology
No,
nanny.
they have.
Then get rid of him.
Yeah. Not saying I'm the perfect parent at all, because I've completely got it wrong, and I can see that. At the end of the day, I'm not here for me. I'm here because it's not fair on my son.
You just need to put that plan in action. My first guest, Tony Marie, contacted the show to receive support for her stepmom, Nancy, who is still struggling with her two teenage sons, Reggie and Frankie, ever since their dad passed away 2 years ago.
My name's Tony Marie, I'm Nancy's stepdaughter and Reg and Frank's stepsister.
I'm Nancy Wald. I have two sons, aged 12 and 13.
Nancy's completely lost control since my dad died of herself, Reg and Frank, and the house. Neither of the boys listened to anything she said. She's not like their mum, she's like their friend.
Boys! Yeah? Can you come turn the Xbox off, please? Now. I've got no control over my children.
At the moment, there's no rules in the house at all.
Sometimes I just do what I want.
They don't listen to me. And I feel like there's no respect in the house for me or the house.
I come round and it's like she hasn't done any housework. She thinks it's a waste of time because the boys just trash it.
It's just not working. It's hard to cope when they kick off. I feel beaten by it all.
She's been through a lot worse than two kids playing up. So if she can deal with that, she can deal with her kids being naughty, but it's got to the point where she generally can't deal with it now.
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. I'm sorry to hear of your loss. I'm sorry to hear. What was it like when your husband was around?
It was a madhouse. When we was all at home, there was always something going on. And we had our rows, and some of them were bad. But when you took that out of the equation, it was brilliant. I loved it.
And you'd lost a daughter, am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, 14 years ago.
14 years ago. And how did you lose your daughter?
Aerosol abuse.
Okay. And what impact did that have on yourself with your family?
It was hard.
And your state of mind of where you were at?
It was hard. My eldest, Reggie, he was a baby, and I was pregnant with Frankie.
Right.
When it happened, just pregnant with Frankie. So it's like I didn't have time to think about it. So a wall came down, and through grieving, I've just lost my way, and the boys have took over. I feel like they're the ones that are in control of me. It's just really hard to find a balance where I can be there for both of them, but be in control as well.
Yeah. Now, your dad obviously married Nancy.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like in the house. She's like, it was madness. Sometimes it was madness in the house.
Yeah, it was.
What was it? What was it like? Explain
Mental.
madness. Explain mental.
God knows how many kids running around. I mean, it was normal. It was a normal house with kids. It was mad, but it was...
It was good.
Yeah.
How did How did your dad die? How did your husband die?
He had an accident in the
road
van.
traffic accident when he was at work.
Where were you when, when you got that news?
I was round his cousins, and you was at home. So I went and picked Tony up, and she didn't really know what was going on. They wouldn't tell her on the phone, the family.
Well, I knew, but
yeah, but they
hadn't been
wouldn't
told.
actually say it. But yeah, and we went straight over to your nan and granddad's.
And who spoke to the boys?
I did when I got home in the evening. My neighbour looked after them, picked them up from school.
Yeah.
I made sure that my neighbour knew that they weren't to hear it from anybody else. And when I got home, it must have been about 8 o'clock in the evening, I picked my boys up and I told them Frankie wasn't emotional about it at all. Reg was upset. Frankie started having panic attacks shortly after his dad died.
When you hear of a sudden death, it's a whole shock to the system. So when did you start to see things deteriorate? When did you start to think things are, this is kind of falling apart here?
A couple of months after my dad died.
Okay. Can we take a look at some more tape, please?
I lost my husband just over 2 years ago, and our little family unit has fallen apart. I've suffered with depression for quite a few years since I lost my daughter.
Nancy's daughter died from solvent abuse.
My daughter got into the wrong crowd to fit in. She died from inhaling aerosol. I've been on antidepressants on and off all that time, and they helped me cope. I've got no pride in the house because of the way they disrespect it.
The holes in the walls and holes in the doors are through Frankie's temper mainly.
If I'm angry and she asks me to do something, I won't do it.
Why? Why don't you do it?
Dunno.
This is Frankie, where he's had the weightlifting bar and ramming it into the wall. This is where he said he was trying to kill a spider.
I used to get really angry. I used to hit the wall with a hammer.
That's where he put a hammer into the wall above his brother's head.
When Frankie and Mum's having an argument, he storms upstairs and might swear at her. Makes me feel angry when he upsets Mum. He punches holes in the walls. When he hits me, I hit him back. It makes me angry.
She just sort of lets it be, lays off of him and lets him get away with blue murder, basically.
What would you say are the toughest things that Nancy needs to hear?
I told you it all already. I mean, you're not their friend, you're their mum. You can't just, do you know what I mean? You can't go on the way you are. Because it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better at all.
I know, that's why I'm here, because I'm scared if I don't change now, where it's going to lead to. I am their mum and I want to feel like their mum again.
Still to come on Family Matters.
How much is enough? Is it police coming to the house
No.
enough?
No.
Or is it your kids having to do time? When is enough?
Not enough is enough now.
So as the daughter watching your brothers run riot with you, okay, and disrespect you, who was the disciplinarian? Like, if the boys played up, your dad. So your dad would be the one to say, oi, pack it in, behave yourself.
Yeah, we wouldn't argue back with him.
Right. And did you rely on that? I mean, did he ever undermine if you ever went to tell the boys off and he'd step in?
Yeah, we did.
To be honest, right, yeah.
I used to think he was he's a harder man than me. His parenting was different to mine.
Yeah.
And that's the trouble when two families meet. Okay. So that's probably the one thing that we really did argue about.
Okay. So earlier on I had a chance to talk to Frankie and Reg, and just catch up with them and find out how things lay with them. Take a look at the tape. We're all here because, you know, Mum's been a little bit upset, hasn't she? She's, like, been a little bit under the weather, right? To say the least. What I was hoping you could do was to really help me in just kind of talking about how it's been at home, because I know Mum's, you know, been feeling rather down, and I know, sorry to hear, but I know that your dad passed away, didn't he? Yeah. I'm very sorry to hear that. I know myself what it's like to lose a parent, you know, and it can be really tough. You know, it can be really tough dealing, you know, with that every day. But I want to be able to help your family and talk to your, you know, mum about, you know, getting things a little bit better. So can I get some, you know, information from you? I was hoping you could help me, really. So what are the things that you feel you both argue about the most?
Personal space.
Personal space. I like that answer. It's a very common answer. You know, people talk about personal space and, you know, respecting each other's privacy. Do you share a room?
No.
You don't. So you've got your own rooms. Yeah. Do you go into each other's rooms?
Yeah.
Do you ask each other whether you can go in each other's rooms?
No.
So there isn't respect for that. So do you just take things from each other's rooms, if you were to be honest?
No. Sometimes.
Sometimes. It's like, nah. It's like, yeah, sometimes. If you could change one thing about Reggie right now that just gets on your nerves and you're like, that's why we fight so much, what would it be?
So agitating.
So, yeah, you agitate him. He says you agitate him all the time. So do you just wind him up?
Not on purpose.
Where do you differ? Where do you think, no, not really?
Like, no, not really. Like, sometimes, like, he would headbutt me or something.
Right.
And, I won't punch him back or nothing.
Right.
Do I punch you back anymore? I'll punch you in the stomach or something, but I won't punch you in the face or headbutt you.
But you punch him in the stomach?
Yeah, like a little jab.
No, you've got to use the punch bag for that, Frankie. You can't use your brother. Are you willing? Are you willing to, like, do what you need to do to make things get better in the house as a family? Are you willing to do that as well?
Yeah.
Does your mum know that?
Don't know.
Does she know that, you know, you would want to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if I could pass a message on to your mum today as I'm having a conversation with her, what would it be from the pair of you?
To tell her that, like, if, like, bring each other closer, just, like, help around the house, but, like, help each other to, like, do it.
Help each other to do it. Well, nice talking to you. Nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you.
And you.
Take care. Oh, how serene they were looking, sitting there.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel a little bit resentful towards your brothers when you look at them?
No, the only thing that bothers me is seeing them all, do you know what I mean, living the way they are. They're like, it's like they all share a house. It's not like their family. Not like their mother and sons. They just live in the same house.
Something's got to give. Just can't carry on.
Oh, trust me, love, you're already giving every day.
No, not anymore.
They're walking over you, are they not?
Yeah.
Why do they have control? Why do you feel like you have no control in your own home?
Because I allowed it to happen.
What are you allowing?
When their dad died, I was not really there mentally anyway. But you know what I mean, they must be hurting, so you let them get away with stuff. You know what I mean? Let them do things that make them happy, and it just never stopped. And when I have tried to say no or put my foot down, and that they just go on, not so much Reg, but Frankie, who goes on. And then my breaking point is pretty low at the moment.
Did you feel like you had control when your husband was around? When did you feel like you lost control?
Before he died, but that's for reasons I don't really want to.
Yeah, okay.
We went through a really bad patch and weren't together when he died.
Right.
So, yeah, back there, that's where it started. Mm-hmm. So when they moved in 6 weeks, he died.
Right. So just That's interesting for me to hear because it allows me to see you're emotional. We're not going to go into detail. No. But you wasn't actually together.
When he died, no.
And he'd moved out.
Yeah.
And then 6 weeks after that, the tragedy happened.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so, and then when he died, I just switched off.
Let's take a look at the tape.
Makes you feel sad. It's not nice watching your family just fall apart.
I want to have a life, and my kids have a life, and for us to do things together and enjoy doing them together and make new memories because they deserve it, and so do I.
If nothing changes, then it's just going to get worse. The boys being as young as they are and out of control as they are, I couldn't imagine when they're 16, 17, 18 and being even more out of control. I couldn't imagine what would happen. I couldn't imagine Nancy alive.
I just feel so worn out and tired now, and I don't want to feel like that anymore. I'll just show my boys it's not okay to sit about on your backside doing nothing. That you have to work for what things that you want. At the moment, I'm not teaching them any of that. Now I can't find my way back.
I think you hit the nail right on the head there in that tape, saying that no good sitting back and just sitting down and doing nothing. It's time to get up from the sofa and it's time to make decisions. And I think those decisions are only going to be made when you're ready to forgive yourself for the situation that you were in with your husband, because there's no two ways about it. You're still living with the guilt of decisions that were made and the 6 week shock of when he passed away. It's frustrating for your daughter to be on the outside and see what you need to do and not know how to give you that strength and not know how to, but to be repetitive. You know, to be your cheerleader, as in to be repetitive, to say, come on, get it, I'm here, I'm supporting you. Hoping one day the penny drops and you say, it's time for me to make some changes. It's time for me to recognise that I will live with the memories that were good. I will live with the memories that were good. I will respect what it was. And I will give these boys what they need so that no dysfunctional behaviour patterns are continued in the home. Does that make sense to you?
That's what I want.
Okay. Your husband obviously was a disciplinarian, okay? He obviously was a very...
Old school.
Oh, is that the word we're using nowadays?
Yeah,
old school.
Yeah.
Grumpy. Okay. He could be, I feel, from looking at your boys, and you don't really need to meet parents sometimes when you sit with a couple of lads who are basically telling you a story, okay? I look at Reggie and I see the vulnerable side of your husband, and I see the soft side of your husband, and I look at Frankie and I see the boisterous side of him, the headstrong side of him. That's what I see when I look at those two boys. And I see you very much like Reggie, but I reckon you've got a temper like Frankie as well. I see it. There's passive, it's passive-aggressive behaviour. So when you have, you know, as lovely as your dad and your husband could be, but when you're in a home where you have a man who at times can be intimidating and overbearing, okay, and can put his mark down where you're all sitting there thinking, give us a break. Give us a break. Like, you're being really unrealistic and unfair now. What happens is that behaviour and that temperament undermines any authority that you have. And as a mother, loving your children, you're going to want to protect them. So you're going to want to pacify the behaviour that you feel is really extreme and unrealistic. So what happens is you pander and you pacify and you make sure they're all right because they're your baby boys and you don't want emotionally for them to feel broke. You don't want their spirit broke.
No.
And so what happens is that whilst you've got a partner that's really unrealistic, has expectations that you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're always going to do that. You're always going to try and find the balance because you're going to feel sorry for the kids and what they have to listen to at times. Even when your partner and your dad's headstrong and he thinks he's right. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So my point being is that not to take away the fact that you are going through grieving still. Okay, you are going through the process and the stages of grieving. And you are in that place of feeling depressed. And I know you know that, and you want to come out of that place. And that final stage for you will be accepting what has happened and looking forward to the future, which means that your future has to be written that you're looking forward to the relationship that you will have with your kids. You can't spend forever like this procrastinating. No. Okay? No one wants to take away how you're emotionally feeling and your grieving process because each and every one to their own, Nancy, each and every one to their own. But there's got to be a point when there's jeopardy in the behaviour that we're seeing, that something clicks up here and you go, I need to get from the place of procrastinating to making change because change happens in a second. In a second. Just a lot of us spend 2 years, 3 years procrastinating. Got to change, got to do this, got to do that.
I've had enough of that being in that.
How much? How much is enough? Is this enough?
Yeah.
Or is it police coming to the house enough?
No.
When is enough?
No, enough is enough now. Right now.
What happens today, Tony?
It's got to change. Can't keep... Do you know what I mean? You're going to end up with Valby at your door. They carry on the way they're going. You're pushing everyone away that's trying to help.
You can get out there. The boys said very clearly, they just want the connection again.
Yeah.
You know, they want to know that they can go, you know, as a family to the cinema one night. You can all be in and you cook a nice meal and you can watch your favourite show and do what you want to do. You know, they want that. You know, they want some of that time, but they do need you to, you know, be that firm voice for them, that reasoning, because you are shaping their behaviour. And you're also setting an example that they need to see as young boys, that they will grow up as young men to respect women in their life. You know, they need to know that, you know. The boys are in that room that you see on the tape, in the children's room. And they are there for you to clean the slate. They are not expecting you to come in by any means. But if you're really ready, then the room is over there and I will walk you over there to go and have a word with the boys and let them know what's going to happen and change from today.
Yeah.
But that's up to you.
Yeah, definitely.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'll follow you. Follow you. I'll follow you.
Hello. You all right?
Yes.
Right. Today is the start of me being about being your mum and not your mate, and laying down rules and boundaries, which I'm going to stand fast and make sure that we go by what I say. I'm still going to be your mum, and I love you to bits, but I'm going to be the sergeant major behind it and make sure that we work together as a family, make new memories, happy memories, and you two can turn out to be the best young men that you can, and I can know that I've done my best by you. Okay? But really today is D-Day.
Why? Why should they believe you, right? Why would you believe your mum today? Why?
Because I feel it in here. And I know that I've got to step up to the mark.
Why you got to do that for your boys that you love?
For them to look up to me, be able to respect me and other women in their life as they get older. That women aren't a pushover. We're mighty strong. You're lovely boys, and you deserve better than what I've been giving you for the past 2 years. And I'm now going to step up and be that mum that you need, okay? Believe me. Right? Right?
They need that. They need that. They need that.
Thank you so much.
You need it as a family. You're a lovely family.
Okay? Yeah. Hug.
Still to come on Family Matters.
He turns to me sometimes and says, "You're a fat cow," and I don't want my children to think that it's okay to call their mum names like that.
Not saying I'm the perfect parent at all, because I've completely got it wrong, and I can see that. At the end of the day, I'm not here for me. I'm here because it's not fair on my son.
Welcome back. My next guest, Clarice, is here because she says her sister Carolyn has no idea how to control her 10-year-old son Morgan, who constantly demands attention from his mum and is an absolute nightmare to make sure he gets it.
I'm Clarice Osborne, Morgan's my nephew, and I'm Carolyn's sister. Morgan's a demon child when he's naughty.
He is what is described as a nightmare.
Morgan can swear, he can say, "I'm not his mum, don't tell him off," but when his mum does tell him off, he doesn't listen then.
Are you doing your room? Morgan, why didn't you bring the rubbish down from your bedroom? So your room is nowhere near done. Off you go. Got one chance, Morgan. It better be tidy properly. Have you started?
Morgan's behaviour's changed since his brother's come along.
Morgan's behaviour dominates my evening time that should be spent with a child of mine that needs it more. Morgan, just play it offline, love. Quick, hurry up, please. I want cups downstairs, plates, knives, forks.
I am more than happy to see Carolyn when she's on her own. It is slightly a different story when Morgan's around.
She doesn't want her 2 children around Morgan.
He had to be off it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but he's trying to finish his game. Well, if it doesn't work, Morgan, then you're going to have to go offline. If I'm honest, I think it's a bit of exaggeration.
You've got to be off it in 5 minutes, but what your mum really means is 20 minutes.
I just don't want my children picking up that behaviour.
Any extra help, support, ways to cope with it.
The whole family kind of needs a little bit of help.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
Looking at the tape there, I see there's a lot of phones, games, technology. How dependent are you on that technology?
Technology in my house is used quite a lot in the sense I have 3 children.
Yes.
Morgan is the eldest, so my middle son, Cody, has so much more additional needs.
Can you explain those for me?
Yeah, Cody's severely autistic. He has Prader-Willi syndrome and sleep apnea, so he has oxygen on a nightly basis.
And when did you start to notice that Morgan was becoming more than just, you know, a toddler having tantrums and, you know, 6, 7, 8? When did you start to really notice that and think, actually, I'm out of control here, I need help?
It was when I was pregnant with Cody, my middle son, actually. And I put it down to, and this isn't making excuses, because, but it is, and that's obviously why I'm here to see you, but to get advice from you. But it's as if he was on his own for such a long time, and he didn't want this other child coming into the family unit, is how I kind of got it. That's how I kind of...
So before, no problems?
No, nothing really, no.
And then as soon as the other children came along...
Well, I was pregnant is when he then was starting his behaviour.
Right. And did you recognise that as maybe a case of a little bit of sibling rivalry, some jealousy? Did you integrate any kind of techniques or advice to sort of mingle the children in together and understand the firstborn? And
no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't introduce anything because I just assumed that when another child would come into the home, the other child would kind of have to deal with it,
Right.
so to speak, which is kind of where we're now at, that he has to understand and he chooses not to, that my middle child takes, unfortunately, more. I'm on my own, so he takes more of my time up, which is where Morgan does suffer, and I see that. I completely see that.
Auntie.
Hello.
You're at the house.
Yes.
You're spending time there with your kids, with all the kids. But you say it's an absolute nightmare. I mean, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It is a problem, yeah, but I don't not want my children around there. I just don't want them to pick up a behaviour of how he treats us both. You know, he turns to me sometimes and says, "You're a fat cow," things like that. And I don't want my children to think that it's okay to call their mum names like that. I don't want my children to be like that at all.
Let's go to tape.
Morgan's behaviour started when I was at the end of my pregnancy with my middle son, who then developed mental health issues, meaning that he takes up a lot of my time.
She spends more time with Cody than realised, so Morgan does feel maybe that he is maybe left out a little bit.
Mum. Mum.
That's when it then just became a nightmare.
Morgan swears, he's got a temper.
Why don't you show it? Yes, he does, Morgan.
He's got attitude, he answers back.
Turn it off. Bedtime. Morgan, turn it off at the bottom.
And I have 5 minutes on my iPod.
Everything's why?
Why?
Because I've asked you to do your homework. Well, then I'll have a look at it. Do your homework.
I can't do it.
He can be very destructive. He has no respect whatsoever.
I'm battling and fighting for the whole evening with Morgan.
I'm going to count to 10.
What?
Is that yours?
Yes.
Brush your teeth.
Is when he's asleep, when he's poorly and he's in bed. That is Morgan behaving. Obviously, I got something wrong in the beginning, which is why he is like he is.
What do you think your sister's doing wrong that she could do better?
I
She
don't
could
think
do
she's
better.
a bad mum at all. I do think she does try her best.
Yes.
It's
Just
that-
observing. What do you feel she could get done better? Just sharpen up a little bit from seeing.
I don't know really, because like, my two children are normal as children. But I think maybe when she says 5 minutes on the Xbox, it should be 5 minutes, even if dinner's still 20 minutes, then put him back on it. OK, you've got another 5 minutes. I don't think he should maybe be on it as much as he is. But then, you know, Carolyn's his mum. She's the one that...
How long is he on it for? Let's just get a gauge.
Well, I'm not there all the time, but he could come in from school and maybe go on it for an hour or so. It depends when his dinner's ready or if they're going out. Or
He very rarely goes on after school because he can't, because the TV's dominated by Cody.
Explain that.
Well, just visually, it's all kind of, it stimulates him. The picture screen, the colours, he isn't particularly watching what's on it. So, you know, Morgan does able to
What
watch.
is on it?
It's normally like anything to do with animals or numbers, like programmes that could be like numbers and... but he isn't interested in what's on there, so Morgan could watch his programme, and, you know, there has been the odd time when Morgan is on the Xbox, because, again, it still stimulates Cody, but Cody rules my house, and that's not how I want it to be forever, but he does. He rules my house. He that's it, he does, and I think that's fair to say, and that's wrong for it to be like that, and Morgan is being pushed and pushed and pushed out, and... in a minute, he's just going to, well, I think he's had enough as well. He's completely had enough, and I don't know how to get that back.
Still to come on Family Matters.
The video games have become technology babysitter.
They have.
Technology nanny.
They have.
Then get rid of them.
Yeah.
What do you think Morgan thinks about this all? Does he share it with you?
I think he's had enough, Joe. I think he's completely had enough.
Yeah, I think it's too much for him now.
It is. It's just... I think he's had far more enough than I've had. And at the end of the day, he's my child, and I don't want him to be feeling the way that he's feeling.
OK, well, I had a chance to speak to Morgan today.
Yeah, you
Let's
did.
take a look. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, and you?
Pleased to meet you. There we go. Let's shake hands. Pleased to meet you, Joe. So do you know why we're here today? No? I think Mum's come down because she wants to get some advice, you know, on how to just get more routine and things like that. Do you think that's what's needed in the home?
Yeah.
Yeah? So does Mum get stressed out sometimes?
Yeah.
She does? What does she get stressed out about, love?
When I talk to her rudely and that.
Right. So what's talking to your mum rudely? Like if she says you talk to her rudely, what is that?
If she says I'm not allowed to go anything, I say why, and she gets annoyed.
Oh, so you ask her for a reason why?
And she don't give me a reason.
So can you give me something else that you may ask your mum that she might get annoyed about?
If I like in a facial time and every time she's on the phone, I wind my brothers up.
You wind your brothers up? What makes you do that then?
Get more attention.
You need more attention then? Yeah, what's going on then?
Like Cody tries to watch TV and I won't watch TV.
Right, okay. So to get much time with Mum doing things with her?
Kind of.
Yeah. What are those things that you like to do?
Playing Monopoly.
You do? You play Monopoly? Do you play that well? Yeah. So what are the things you would do if you had an opportunity to spend some time with Mum where you could have just like one-on-one time together?
Play on the Xbox.
Right. What about if there was no video games? Say there was no video games at all. What would you do then?
Read a book.
Okay. With them?
Yeah.
So Mum says that sometimes she gets a little bit stressed out at home. Why do you think that Mum gets stressed out? What do you see?
If Cody winds her up, she says, kind of like, go away from me. So I do, sometimes.
Right. So does she get a little bit stressed out with everybody else then? And how does that affect you then?
A little bit. It's kind of not my fault.
Right. And have you said to her, I kind of think it's a bit unfair, or have you ever had that conversation? You have? You say to her, what do you say?
Like, can I talk to you for a minute and then you can talk to Cody?
Yeah, and what does she say?
Okay, only for a little bit.
What do you think I could help Mum with?
Tips?
Tips? Is that what she wants, tips? Is that what she said to you?
Like, and how all of our family can behave.
Right. Do you think your family needs to behave?
Like, to get better and have more time.
So how many hours do you spend on the computers and on the video games?
An hour sometimes when they're in bed.
OK, so when the younger ones are in bed, you get to stay up and play. Good talking to you today.
And you.
I'll catch up with you later.
Catch up with you later.
Nice to meet you.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
How much do you actually get out anyway, all of you? Just anyway, whether that's a walk in the park, you know?
There's a park that we do go to, yes, on our road. But as for like a big old walk, we don't. And it sounds like I'm making excuses, and it's far from it. We physically could not walk really further than the park.
No.
We also live right by the water, and I've only not long been there, so I'm a bit worried about Morgan going out for too long, because he will kick the ball, and he is a child that if it went over that he would try and go down and get it. So, but he does go out and kick the ball.
Well, that's about you teaching. I mean, you just see the tape.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's not an intelligent boy or the emotional age that he is. It's not, I mean, that's just about letting him know about the dangers
it's
around
letting the
him.
strings go a bit, and I should let him out a lot more than I do. I should. Just
together. I mean, that's not.
We do go out. No, we do go out, and we go to the
all I'm
park.
saying is that you're contradicting yourself. Just slow down a little bit in your conversation. Yeah. Because 1 minute you're saying I do need to let him out a little bit more, but we do go out a little bit more.
On his own. I need to let him out a bit more on his own when he wants to go out with his mates and kick the ball around. I need to do that. I need to let him go out a lot more on his own, because it's always no. Why? Because honestly, if I don't want him to go out, I don't want him, and I should let him go out more on his own.
Well, he's not really wanting much of going out on his own. He's wanting much of
me
being able to be with you and the family. He feels detached from that.
I'm sure he does.
He feels detached. Let's go to the tape.
I would love Joe to give me tips, information, ways of dealing with the type of behaviour that Morgan shows. How, I don't know, because if I knew, I would have tried it by now. I personally don't think there's anything else that I can try. He's going to be naughty, he's going to give me attitude, but to the extent that he does now is completely unacceptable. And I'm completely at the end of my tether with the way Morgan's behaviour is.
I hope that Joe can help Carolyn and hopefully give Carolyn the discipline that Morgan needs, teach her how to spend a bit more time with him.
I want to spend time with my mum.
There is a lovely boy, a lovely child that can be well-mannered, that can be respectful, and that ultimately is what I want to get back, is I want to have a nice relationship with him that I have with my other 2 children. That's my aim, that's my ultimate goal.
I look at the tape again and, you know, I hear that he can be mischievous and play up, but I think it's because he's bored. I think it's because he knows that if he behaves a certain way, he'll get your negative attention because you don't fail to give it to him when he is misbehaving. You know, regardless of looking after special needs children or not, as soon as he misbehaves, your attention is there trying to sort him out.
It's also there when he's giving me positive behaviour, Joe.
No one's taking away from you the amount of work that it takes for a parent every day to look after children of special needs. No one. And let me tell you, it takes a certain type of patience, okay, and understanding, okay? No one is taking that away from you. And you've just said you have none. And there are times when you are pushed, okay? And maybe there isn't enough times that people give you a pat on the back, but no one is going to do that. But you did get emotional when I mentioned it. I can see that. Okay, I know that there are times that you feel alone, and there are times when every day it feels like today I just got to get through the day. Okay, most parents will tell you the same. They'll tell you the same.
There you go.
Because
I'm not saying I'm the perfect parent at all, because I've completely got it wrong, and I can see that. It's just, at the end of the day, I'm not here for me. I'm here because it's not fair on my son.
No one's saying you're not, but I think here your issue is more of a concern of how you're managing Cody than Morgan, because I look at Morgan and I see a sad boy. I see a boy who knows that his mum is trying to manage you all and watches you every day with your special needs children. But you see, children won't just come up to their parents and say, I'm feeling left out. You spend a lot of time, you know, the video games have become technology babysitter.
They have.
Technology nanny.
They have.
Then get rid of them.
Yeah.
Then get rid of them. I'd like to say to you, I'd like to challenge you right now. I would like to challenge you right now to get rid of that technology for 3 weeks. And I tell you why. Because when you're not dependent on that technology, you'll recognise how you will automatically look to the games. And because he told me he loves to play board games.
We do play that a lot.
Yeah. He'll look to see of all the other things that he can do. I mean, look at his lovely face there, look. Look, he's smiling, look. I mean, it's not like you can't get that back. But I think you've got to be really honest with respects to what you're really not doing because you've just got a little bit complacent, you know? And I would not be doing you a service to say that up here you have contradicted yourself a lot.
Yeah.
And there have been things, if you were to be really honest with yourself, that you've got a little bit slack with. And you know what? Most parents will just drop the ball a few times and get a little bit slack and go, hold on a minute, I need to get myself back on track. When kids start to misbehave in that fashion, when they've been a great kid, you know, that their personalities are bubbly, you know, their temperaments are one that they want to listen, they want to please, they want to do. And when it changes and it goes off rail, that's when parents need to say, I need to put my kids back on track. What was I doing that I'm not doing now? And how can I make that better? What can I balance? What can I put in my routine that can be consistent? Maybe I haven't been consistent. Maybe I tell him, we'll do this today, Morgan, and we don't follow through. Not being consistent,
I think that
not
is
following
the thing,
through.
is she doesn't. Right, let's go to the park. Oh yeah, but dinner's near. I need to do dinner, and
It's
maybe
not that. It's
maybe
because
you
I
should
can't be
just
bothered some days.
say it and do it rather than.
Because I'm so tired.
But the reward that you would get, you know, it's a reality check. But the truth of the matter is, if you're truthful with yourself and you're really honest with yourself, it means you've identified what the issues are, which means then you can have a game plan. And when you've got a game plan, you can act on it. And when you act on it, you get the results. And that makes the whole family happier. Yeah. You just need to put that plan in action and do it. And just get up from the sofa, take the technology away, and stop what I call armchair parenting. You know?
Yeah.
Have we got a game plan? Tell me we got a game plan. Let me know that little boy's going to have a game plan from his mum when you leave it.
Yeah.
We have to have a game plan.
I know you do. I know you do.
You're going to have to take it all away and
Just do.
yeah, just going to have to do it.
That's what it's going to take. Thank you.